And so a burden doesn't qualify you for anything. And out of all of those qualifications that you have listed there, only one of them has to do with ability, and that's apt to teach. All the rest of them have to do with character and blamelessness.
What would you say, related to missions, is the difference between a burden and a calling, maybe to a particular field or people group or ministry?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's one that's asked often, especially in the Bible college setting. Really, it's not as difficult as what it sounds. There's a lot of people who have pontificated about it, but the way that you can divide it up is you understand that a calling is to a position. A position like in the Old Testament, prophet, priest, or king. In the New Testament, an apostle of Christ, which is no longer in existence, so now you have the pastor. So a calling is to a position, and then when he's called to that position, like what 1 Timothy 3 tells us, you can have a burden for that position as well. If any man desires the office of bishop, desires good work, but you also have like 15 qualifications. And so a burden doesn't qualify you for anything. And out of all of those qualifications that you have listed there, only one of them has to do with ability, and that's apt to teach. All the rest of them have to do with character and blamelessness. And so a burden, it's really tricky. A burden is, you got to be careful about, because anyone can be burdened about anything and say it's from the Lord, and then that be their reason for going on to do something. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but you can't trust your heart on that. Yeah, a burden always has to be backed up with qualifications and always a calling from the Lord. One extra thing I would like to say about calling to a position is like what we have with the Apostle Paul. The Lord obviously called him to salvation and to a position all at the same time on the road to Damascus. But then he led him along the way. And so when you are called into a position, what you really want to do is seek to deepen your relationship with God, seek to be content with what he's done with you and what he is going to do with you as you live the surrendered life. Then he will lead you like he did the Apostle Paul. But look at the way they led the Apostle Paul. He was the Apostle Paul went to Antioch, and even before Antioch, he was in Arabia before he ever went to do the rest of his missionary calling. So that's what I would answer. How I'd answer that.
Yeah, and I think missions in general is a way that you can still reach out to that burden while you're doing God's calling. Because you might not necessarily reach out to everywhere you have a burden. You might have 50 different burdens, but there are other people who are going there, and you can help them.
That's true.
Maybe in some ways.
I agree.
In my life, oh Lord, now I know I will be blessed, for my Savior does what's best.